All right, I am seeing on my clock that it is noon Chicago time, so I think this is a great time to get started. We have a ton of content to get through today. So I just wanted to start by introducing myself. My name is Alan Dodaro. I am the Director of Product Marketing here at Hierology. I've been here for almost 7 years now. And what we wanted to do, and you may have attended some of these in the past, but you're on our quick hit webinar series. And so what we want to do is just share some of the research that we've been conducting over here, as well as best practices that we share with our customers in really quick and easy 20-minute webinars. So lots of really great content to fly through today. And in our session that we're going to be digging into, this is all going to be about mobile first recruiting, how our customers are leveraging mobile, what you can be doing from best practice standpoints, whether or not you're working with us today. We have a lot of really great research that we've done over the past couple of months that show really compelling trends from an applicant perspective. And I can't wait to dig in and share some of those results with you. Before we dig in, a couple of notes on housekeeping. First, this session will be recorded. So if you want to come back to this, we're going to be sending out the recording by tomorrow morning, just with a recap and a video link for this. So you can send that over to any colleagues who may not have been able to attend today. I also want to make sure that we provide the opportunity for you to ask any questions. So in your Zoom toolbar, you should see a Q&A button. If there's anything that crosses your mind, let us know using the text form that appears there. And Carly, my partner in crime, will be helping me facilitate questions. We'll leave a couple of minutes at the end. So if there's any thoughts that come across your mind, definitely make use of that Q&A panel, and we'll make sure we get through as many questions as we can at the end of the session. So for the next half hour, I'm really excited to sort of dig into some of these applicant trends that we're seeing all on the mobile front. And so first, what I want to do is just dig into this really compelling stat. This is 52% of job seekers are completing the application process for their next job completely on a mobile-based device. And so I've been in Hierology for a really long time now. This is a question we've asked in our survey for about 5 or so years on what is your preferred device to use your job to run your job search. This is the very first year we've done the survey where we have a vast majority of people who are using their phones for a majority of the process. And to even back up, this comes from a recent white paper that we released where we went out, we polled our customers' applicants for who have applied to jobs in the year 2022. So very recent results. We sent out about 1 million surveys and heard back from 6,000 applicants across various verticals in job levels. So this is really representative of the overall employment population today. So majority, and this is the first time we've seen a majority uptick in today's job seekers are using their phone for the entire hiring process. So really exciting stuff. Just because we sort of tipped the scale and crossed that majority, I think we're going to see this accelerate in the years to come. And also a quick plug for this research paper. If you're interested to dive into some of the other research that we've uncovered that we may not have time to get to in this presentation, if you visit hierology.com, look at guides, we do have that white paper as a free download. So I'd really recommend anybody on the call today, definitely check that out. There's a lot of really great material. If you're looking to understand today's job seekers, that white paper will have you covered. So again, really excited to see that a majority of today's job seekers are applying on mobile, and that's something that should be a no surprise. But really taking it a step further, how does this impact my own hiring process? So in this same research report, we've seen that almost half of job seekers have actually given up because the online application was too difficult to complete on their mobile phone. So that number clocks in right at 42% of today's job seekers have given up because the application process wasn't really tailored for a mobile first experience. In our Hierology customers who I've spoken with and just the research that we've done independently, we know that a lot of companies out there are really struggling with their applicant flow and getting talent. And so Compounding this, if you're almost turning away about 42% of your applicants because the process is really hard for them to do on their phone, that's just making the situation worse. So we're going to dive into some tactics on how to make this better. But I love these two slides to frame up that half of today's job searches are happening on mobile, and 42% of those mobile job seekers are really frustrated with the process today. So I think that that sets the lay of the land that this can be a lot better for today's applicants. And again, what we want to do in this quick hit series is talk about ways that we can put in process today at our organizations to make this better for everyone. And so there's four main sections that I would love to cover with you today. First, I want to talk about mobile-friendly job applications. Again, I want to get that 42% number down to zero. How do we make it really easy to apply for our positions? We have a section, and I can't wait to dig into that. Secondly, that application lives on a career site, and your career site where your job applicants learn about your company, understand and get excited for those opportunities, we want to make sure that those are mobile friendly as well. So there's a couple of tactics that we can put in place today to make that happen if that's not already the case. Third is an interesting tool that is not about the job seeker process, but it's how do you interact with your candidates and what are some text messaging best practices to cut through the clutter of email, of manual phone calls to make the process accelerated. So we'll talk about text messaging best practices and how you can take this and put this in practice at your organization. And then finally, to wrap things up, we want to talk about how mobile tools could also impact your team. So not necessarily just talking to your applicants, candidates, and hires, but how do your hiring managers collaborate, and can mobile help unlock a lot of potential here? So that's what I want to cover today. Let's dive in. So the first thing we want to talk about are mobile-friendly job applications. What can I do to my application to make this easier? Again, I don't want to see that 42% drop off that today's applicants are telling us because those forms are really difficult. So what can I do and what can I put in place to make my forms really easy so that any applicant on their Android or iPhone can really easily apply and get into my hiring process to begin with? So first, a couple of do's and don'ts. The first one that has been a little controversial, but it's something that we advocate as a best practice, is making sure that you keep your applications short and sweet. I know it's really easy to try to ask for any possible piece of information on the application, and we're just seeing a lot of drop off. And I do have specific numbers to share with you in just a slide or two on what that drop off actually looks like. So we advocate for a best practice of keeping those application fields to less than 5 fields. Again, just collecting the bare amount of information to understand whether or not this applicant could be a really great potential candidate. The fewer fields you have, the easier it's going to be for that to be filled out. And as a result, your applicant flow is going to increase. There's a couple of tools that you can use in conjunction to that. Our own customers use a tool called the pre-screen survey to ask a couple of more qualifying questions, such as schedule availability, certifications, qualifications. And so if we can take out some of those materials that would typically appear in the application form and get them into some other venues, another great place to include that is the initial phone screen. That is going to just increase the amount of applicants who get through that first qualification phase. So really short and sweet applications. Our customers who put this into place are really seeing really great results in terms of their applicant flow because these are really easy to fill out. Second, and this is somewhat related, is don't include drop-down menus or other very advanced formats that might be really difficult to use on mobile. So drop-down menus, pick lists, these are things that we're probably very accustomed to on in a desktop experience. On a mobile phone, if you've ever tried to fill out one of these long, onerous forms, it gets really, really tricky. You might have to pinch to zoom in. As you're scrolling through that pick list, you might accidentally scroll through the page. We find that that's a really frustrating experience for your applicants. So when you can avoid those drop-down menus, again, simplification is the key here. A couple of really basic text fields really go a long way. And this could also be helpful if you have a pick list of, level of education. Could you just have the applicant type out that they have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a high school or GED equivalent diploma, versus having them, sort through this menu. Same thing, picking their state as well. Again, focusing on the applicant experience is going to make this great. Keeping copy short and sweet to reduce scrolling. Some of the application forms that I have seen out there in helping do an audit, they almost read like legal contracts. We don't want that kind of experience on mobile, especially if you're going to have to read multiple paragraphs before I even understand what I have to supply as an applicant. So keep the copy short and sweet. Again, focus on only what's required, and your applicants are going to love this. And again, you're going to increase that volume of applicants who apply. The last thing I want to also include is a resume requirement. And so for some of you on the call today, that might be a requirement depending on the positions you're applying for. But by and large, we're starting to see that this, really shouldn't be. A lot of today's job seekers, especially in the deskless economy, may not have a resume. If you're hiring for caregivers, CNAs, or other people in the medical field, a lot of these individuals are very skilled and they may not have a resume. And so they might be dissuaded from the process, even if they would be a really great fit otherwise. And so not requiring a resume may open up and unlock those so much more talent than you may be experiencing today. So again, just some really quick do's and don'ts that we've been seeing as working specifically with our customers to drive their success for initial applicant interest. So I mentioned before, I had numbers to share with you on what does the drop-off rate look like as I increase the amount of things that I need to gather on that initial application form. So again, sweet spot is under 5 form fields. You see that about 36% of people who look at the application, they fill it out up to 5. I understand if that is pretty radical to get down to 5 forms. If you go up to 10, that drops from 36% completion down to 27%. So you see a little bit of a drop off. Anything that is 11, 16 form fields, 20 or 26 plus, you can see that my drop-off rate is over 85%. As somebody on their phone just scrolls through and they say, forget this, I don't want to do this. And so again, you may not be able to get down to 5, but really take a look at your forms. Ask that really hard question, is this information I truly need to gather at this point in the stage? Hierology has recently gone through this as well. So our forms are really short and sweet. If you go to hierology.com/careers, you can see what our not only job descriptions and job listings are, but the application forms are pretty streamlined. So if you want some inspiration, check out our career site. I would really recommend it. Again, this is just showing that applicants really don't want to deal with a really long form. And so if this is something that you can take a look at, it's something that your team can tackle this week to drive up the application rate. Great. So that's a look at form conversion. I also wanted to really quickly show an example of a mobile-friendly versus a mobile-unfriendly form. And so on the left, we're looking at a very mobile optimized form. You can see that the regions where I can tap my finger to type in my first name, my last name, my email, these have very large targets. And so they're really easy to tap into and fill out. On the right side, we're looking at, there is an application that might have those pick list values where I have to drop down this menu. I have to scroll through. I don't want to scroll the whole page. I only want to scroll the menu. I have to find what my level of education is. I tap it. I hope that everything gets submitted okay. It's really not a mobile-friendly experience. So again, where we can simplify things, these will go a long way with your applicant. So just wanted to share what an example of a mobile-friendly versus maybe a form that needs a little bit more work looks like. So that covers the application. The application lives on a career site. And so I wanted to just really show some do's and don'ts that we go through with our customers on how to make their career sites really, really mobile optimized. And so we have a couple of tactics that I would say we could all put in place, whether or not you're working with Hierology today. First is, again, focus on that overall experience. And so we want to reduce the number of clicks and scrolls to get to the information I need. And this isn't just the list of open jobs. This could be talking about your company's history, seeing testimonials and a photo gallery of your current team, really painting the picture and helping your applicants see what it's like to work in your organization. And so by simplifying the navigation and maybe having a single page experience where I can just on my phone scroll through and see what the culture is like, see what the benefits are like, what are the list of open jobs? If I don't have to hunt around and click in multiple pages on my phone, that is going to be a really, really great experience. The next two, we want to implement a mobile responsive design, and we want to use buttons rather than hyperlinks. Again, this just focuses on the applicant experience. And so we want to make sure that as our screens are smaller than our desktop computers, that this looks great. Our text is still really sharp and easy to read. And again, think about tapping on links with your finger. If I hyperlink a little tiny word that I need to go through to get to the job descriptions or the list of openings, that's going to be a lot harder for me to do. I might miss that versus having a dedicated button that is meant for me that really spells out exactly where I'm going next. So focus on that experience. And the best way to put this in practice is to test your career site out yourself. After this call, I would love and challenge each of you to pull up your career site on your phone if you haven't done that in a while. How does the usability look like? Can you fill out an application? Can you go through the full submission process? How long does that take? Start asking these questions, and I think you will build a lot of empathy with your applicants. So that is really what I wanted to focus on the career site. Again, everybody likes visual examples. I'm a visual learner. And so these are a couple of sites that we've built with our customers. So career sites are a product that we have offered for 6 years now. We've built about 5,000 of them for our customers. And this is what a couple of them look like. Again, really, really icon focused, very visual. It's a really easy, simplified navigation, streamlined design. I can understand where I'm going. And for a lot of your applicants, it may be the first time they're visiting your website. And so having everything in a really streamlined manner is going to go a really long way to helping them not only understand and get excited for your open positions, but to make the process a piece of cake to apply. So that's everything from a career site standpoint. I want to move on now to candidate texting. This is something that we have offered our customers for about 2 to 3 years now. And especially since 2020, we've really seen this start to tick up. And so what does this look like from a candidate experience approach? Again, referencing that survey that I mentioned at the beginning of the call, one of the things that we asked is, do you prefer texting or email? And so I wanted to show just how compelling this stat is. So the question we asked in our applicant survey, again, this is coming back from about 6,000 folks who have applied for jobs in the past 7 months. Would you be willing to text with recruiters for tasks like interview scheduling if it meant the process would go faster? And we see over 90% of these applicants have raised their hand and they have said yes. And this should be no surprise. A lot of B2B companies are switching to texts versus email to get order fulfillment for customers. We're starting to bring this on the applicant side to accelerate the time to connect with applicants and make that process faster. I was able to pull just a really compelling data point from our internal teams. And so from our customers, again, this is built into our platform. Between January and early July, our customers have sent over 1 million text messages to their job applicants. So it is something that if you're using an ATS like Hireology that has built-in text messaging, and I know that we are one of the few providers who do offer that, this is something that is rapidly replacing email. Email feels really slow. I might miss it. If I am working a role where I might not have access to my phone, it might be hard for me to go back to email versus if I can send a really quick text on my break, I'm going to absolutely do that. So think about text messaging. Applicants are really eager to get this. It is really simple for them to use. You as a hiring manager are going to get much better responses. So with that in place, I mentioned that we've offered texting for a couple of years now for our customers. There are a couple of do's and don'ts. And so the first do, this should make sense hopefully to everyone, is just include a little bit about who you are. The person on the other end, your applicants, may not have your number saved. And so just showing who you are, including your name if you're the hiring manager, the company, will just help them get that context of, oh yeah, I just applied for this job. I can't believe I've already heard back. I'm going to reply right away. So just helping them frame up who that is in that initial message is going to go a long way. The other thing to keep in mind is not to be wordy. Again, texting is for these really quick messages. And so having one or two paragraphs might be a little overwhelming for that initial message. So be really short and sweet. Texting as a channel by default is a little bit more casual than email. And so feel free to focus on just confirming those details, letting them know that you're excited, you want to speak to them next week. Does 3 p.m. on Thursday work? Really focusing on those details to make it really easy for them to reply back with a really brief yes or no to keep the process moving. Similar to that, there are some really great best practices in terms of when to use this. So scheduling interviews, reference requests, skills testing, other reminders to just keep the process moving, as well as being just a forum if they have any questions for you. So those are all really, really wonderful use cases, but you should also not just limit yourself to the logistics of the conversation. If they have questions about your history, your community involvement, what the process looks like, or if they were a referral and they want to learn a little bit more about the team that they are applying to, keep that as an open forum. Again, texting is really conversational. This is a really great way to keep them engaged and excited for the job ahead. So those are some best practices. Again, I'm a visual learner. I wanted to show what this looks like in our platform. And so some of you may be using this today. You might have hiring managers with company phones who are just using that contact number. From a hierology standpoint, we do things a little bit differently. So we have more of an anonymous number. If you've ever ordered food from Grubhub, Uber Eats, ordered an Uber or a Lyft, you get that like 6-digit confirmation number. That's what our messages come from. Our customers can send any applicant or candidate message from within our desktop or mobile platform. And so on the left, if somebody is on the desktop platform and they're looking to communicate via text, this is sort of what it looks like. So we sort of have a uniform inbox so that our customers don't have to necessarily share their contact number, but they can still keep in touch with applicants. So just, again, visually wanted to share what this looks like. For the mobile app that I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes, it works exactly the same. So again, being able to cut through the clutter, communicate with your applicants, but not have your hiring managers forced to give their contact numbers is something that we hear is really, really popular with our customers who are, again, sending those million text messages already this year. So that's what mobile looks like in practice. The last thing that I wanted to cover off on is mobile for your team. So we talked a lot about what the process looks like for your applicants to apply, have a really great career site to get them excited, and work over texting. We're also really in on having a mobile app for your internal team to collaborate with and communicate with to keep the process moving. So why did we do this? First is the economy, and a lot of our roles have changed pretty dramatically since the shutdowns of 2020. And so a lot of people are wearing multiple hats. People might not be at their desks all day. And if I'm not at my desk and I lose on acting on one of those really great candidates, they might be applying to the competition down the street and I might lose them from the process because I might be slow. And so what we wanted to do was just have this really great mobile app that we can not only use to collaborate with our applicants and candidates, but other hiring managers to keep the process moving. And the customers who are using it today, and we have about 10 to 15% of our customer base are regularly working with the Hierology platform on mobile. We're seeing that they cut the time in half to engage with that first round applicant. So we have push notifications that go through. So if I open a job and somebody applies, I get a notification on my phone's lock screen immediately so I can jump in and engage with them. So again, we want to accelerate that conversation with the applicant. Having a mobile app is really unlocked a lot of potential for our hiring managers. And then finally, this is just really helping bridge the gap between hybrid and remote work. Not everybody can go fully remote, but we're starting to see positions go in that trend for at least a couple of hours or a couple of days a week. having a mobile app in your pocket with the most up-to-date hierology information has really gone a long way to making everybody feeling connected, regardless where you're working from or the hours that you're working. And so what does it look like? Again, we have the best components of our platform that are available in our desktop web app or the iOS mobile app, which is what we're looking for here. And so you can see in the second screenshot, I can go through the process. I can communicate with all of my applicants and candidates. I can also, if you're looking at this right screenshot, I might have a brand new applicant named Silas. I can review his resume if he has one, the application form, any pre-screen surveys. And based on whether or not I like what I'm seeing, I can advance this person or I can decline them on the spot. Again, I'm not waiting to get back to my desk. And then finally, if we look at the left screenshot, we can go through the entire process and even make the call on hiring somebody, again, right from the mobile app. So we don't have each and every feature available from our desktop app into mobile today, but we are working to bring what makes sense into mobile and making sure that that is accessible for all of our customers so that they can do the most critical task in hierology from anywhere. So that is kind of wrapping up the session today. Again, this was going to be a really quick rapid fire best practice for all things mobile. And so what I wanted to cover, and I think we got everything through, is just understanding that today's applicants are digital natives. They are expecting the process to look really great on their phones. And so let's meet them there. Again, we opened up the conversation today with 52% of today's applicants are using a phone for the entire hiring process, and 42% are dropping off because it doesn't feel great on mobile. And so I'm hopeful that you can take a couple of the tactics that we went through today to just make that process a little bit better. We want to make sure that the application as well as the career site, these are mobile friendly. They look great on any sort of phone that our applicants can be using. That we can accelerate that hiring velocity to keep the process moving fast. And there's also opportunities for your team to leverage mobile first tools to collaborate, make hiring decisions, and bring people on faster. So that is everything that I wanted to go through today. Again, we have a couple of minutes left. And so I don't know that if there are any questions. Again, if you have any, thoughts or feedback or questions based on what we just ran through in the past 20 minutes or so, again, you have that Q&A panel that is available in the Zoom user experience. Would love to hear any questions. And I know that Carly is standing by in case any come through.
At the moment, there are no questions that I see. We will wait around for 1 or 2 more minutes in case anything comes through. If any questions come to mind, feel free to also email info@hierology.com.
Yeah, thank you, Carly. And, if somebody is typing out a question right now, the one thing I'll say on mobile is a lot of the features that you've seen today are included in our base platform. So again, you're going to get our core applicant tracking system, but for all of our customers, we do include a career site that is included in our base platform, as well as SMS text messaging that we went through. And then finally, the mobile app. So anybody that has a hierology login, we're not going to charge more or anything like that. Anybody who has access to our platform, you will have access to our iPhone mobile app. And again, our customers who are taking advantage of that and using it, they're cutting that initial time to connect with applicants in half. So these are things that really, really excite me as somebody who has been around since we first launched our career site product in 2016. We first launched our mobile app in late 2018. These are things that we're not just seeing embraced by by your applicants, but by all of our users as well. So we are excited by this push to mobile and hope you are too. All right, Carly, have you seen anything come in? Otherwise, I think we might be able to end maybe a minute early or two if there aren't any, hot button questions.
I have not seen any questions come through.
Perfect. Well, if that is the case, I think we can maybe end things maybe a minute earlier or so. So again, I know that schedules are really tight. So if you're attending live, I really appreciate Everybody who took the time today, if you're watching the recording, also thank you as well. If there are any questions or feedback on this quick hit series, I want to leave this email up here. Just we love doing these, and we want to make sure they're useful. And so if there's anything that we can do better, or if there's topics that you're interested in hearing on in a future version of this, just send us an email, info@hierology.com. I promise there are live hierology humans on the other end of this email. I'm one of the folks on this alias, so we'll see any feedback that comes through. But I want to, again, just thank you for taking the time today. And let's work over email if there's any questions. But if not, enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again for attending.